There is someone in your life right now. Maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's a family member, maybe it's someone you've never even met, a stranger on the internet, a person whose name you barely remember, and their opinion of you is living rent-free inside your head. You've replayed what they said 17 times. You've imagined what they think of you when you're not in the room. You've changed how you dress, how you speak, how you walk into a room, all to manage the silent judgment of someone who is probably not thinking about you at all. Let that land. They have moved on. And you are still in the courtroom, still defending yourself to a jury that went home hours ago, still rehearsing arguments for a verdict that was never real. This is not weakness. This is what happens to every human being who was never taught the most important skill life has to offer. The skill of being completely, utterly and permanently unaffected. Not cold, not arrogant, not disconnected from the world, but free. Free from the invisible chains of other people's approval. Free from the prison of 1,000 silent judgments that were never even true. Marcus Aurelius was criticized by senators, questioned by generals, doubted by the very people he protected, and yet he wrote, privately, in words that were never meant for anyone else's eyes. I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest, yet sets less value on his own opinion than on the opinion of others. He saw it, he understood the trap, and he spent his entire life building the escape. Today we build yours. 12 things, not opinions, not transformations. Each one dismantles one more chain. Each one returns to you one more piece of the freedom that was always yours. Stay with me until the end, because the person who finishes this video will not be the same person who started it. Understand that their opinion is about them, not you. The first thing that will set you free is the most important truth you will ever learn about human judgment. Ready? When someone forms an opinion about you, they are not seeing you. They are seeing themselves. They are seeing their fears, their wounds, their unmet expectations, their cultural conditioning, their bad morning, their unresolved childhood, all of it, filtered through the lens of who they are, and projected onto you like a movie onto a blank screen. You are not the movie, you are just the wall. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. He wrote, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it?" The person judging you is almost always more consumed by the act of judging than you could ever be by receiving it. Think about the last time you judged someone. Maybe you thought they were too loud, too quiet, too confident, too insecure. What were you actually revealing in that moment? Your preference for quiet, your discomfort with confidence, your own insecurity dressed up as observation. The same is happening every time someone judges you. Their opinion is autobiography, not biography. It tells you who they are. It tells you nothing about who you are. The moment this clicks, really clicks, deep in your bones, their words lose their sting. Not because you stop hearing them, but because you finally understand what they actually are. Noise from someone else's inner world, accidentally aimed in your direction. Nothing more. Build an identity that doesn't need external confirmation. Here is why other people's opinions hurt so much. Not because they are powerful, but because you have built your identity on sand, on shifting ground, on the approval of others, and when that approval is withdrawn or twisted or weaponized, the ground moves, and you fall. Epictetus said, "Seek not the good in external things, seek it in yourself." Most people have never done this. They have spent their entire lives building an identity from the outside in, from what their parents approved of, from what their peers validated, from what their culture rewarded. And they have called that collection of external approvals their personality. But it is not their personality, it is their performance, and every performance requires an audience, which means without the audience there is nothing. No sense of self, no grounding, no peace. This is why a single criticism can unravel weeks of confidence. Because the confidence was borrowed, not built. The Stoics built from the inside out. They asked not, "What do others think of me?" but "What do I know to be true about myself? What have I done that reflects my values? What kind of person am I when no one is watching?" That last question, sit with it. Because the answer to that question is your real identity. Not the one you perform, not the one you defend, the one that exists in the quiet moments when the audience has gone home. Begin building from there, and watch how slowly, steadily, powerfully, other people's opinions stop having anything to stick to. Stop explaining yourself to people who aren't listening. There is an exhausting habit that approval seekers share: the compulsion to explain. Someone misunderstands you, and you explain. Someone criticizes you, and you explain. Someone forms a wrong opinion, and you spend hours, sometimes days, constructing the perfect explanation that will finally make them see. But here is what the Stoics knew that most people never grasp. Some people are not misunderstanding you. They are choosing to misunderstand you. And no explanation, no matter how perfect, will change a mind that was never open to begin with. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Never esteem anything as of advantage to you that will make you break your word or lose your self-respect." Explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you costs you your self-respect every time. Because in the act of explaining, you are saying, "Your opinion of me matters so much that I will spend my energy trying to change it." And they feel that. And it gives them power over you. The Stoics practiced something different. They called it living demonstrably, not explaining who you are, demonstrating who you are through action, through consistency, through the quiet accumulation of a life lived according to values, regardless of whether anyone understood it or approved of it or even noticed it. Seneca wrote, "Retire into yourself as much as possible. Associate with people who are likely to improve you, not people who need to be convinced of your worth, people who already recognize it. Stop explaining yourself to the wrong audience. Save your energy for your actual life. Practice the discipline of not reacting. The moment you react to an opinion, you validate it. You say, with your energy, your words, your visible discomfort, 'This reached me, this matters to me, this has power over me.' And now it does, because you gave it that power." Epictetus taught one of the most psychologically advanced ideas in the history of human thought. If someone succeeds in provoking you, realize that your mind is complicit in the provocation. Your mind is complicit. Not their words, not their tone, not their intention. Your mind. Which means your mind can also be the one that says no, the one that observes the provocation without being moved by it, the one that sees the arrow coming and simply steps aside. This is not suppression. Suppression is feeling everything and pretending you feel nothing. This is something different. This is genuinely not being moved, because you have trained yourself to see opinions for what they actually are. Just thoughts, happening inside someone else's head, expressed through sound waves that travel through air and reach your ears. That's it, sound waves. You don't have to make them mean anything. You don't have to assign them weight. They were never given by anyone but you. The next time someone's opinion tries to reach you, pause, one breath, and ask yourself, do I choose to let this in? Because you can choose. And that choice, practiced daily, becomes automatic. And one day, you will realize that the thing that used to ruin your week now barely registers. Not because you've become cold, because you've become free. Understand that approval is addictive, and you are in recovery. Here is something that nobody in the self-help world wants to say directly. Seeking approval is an addiction, a real one, with real neurological pathways, real withdrawal symptoms, real cycles of craving and relief. When someone approves of you, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical released by sugar, by gambling, by substances people spend years recovering from. And when that approval is withdrawn, the crash is real, the anxiety is real, the obsession is real, the desperate need to get it back, that is real too. Marcus Aurelius saw this trap clearly. He wrote, "Confine yourself to the present, not to what they said yesterday, not to what they might think tomorrow, the present." Because the approval addict lives everywhere except the present. They live in the replay of last night's comment. They live in the anticipation of tomorrow's judgment. They live in the gap between who they actually are and who they think others need them to be. And in that gap, there is no peace, only hunger. The way out is not to find better sources of approval. The way out is to discover, through direct experience, that you can feel completely okay without it. Start small. Do one thing today that you would normally seek approval for, and tell no one. Don't post it, don't share it, don't wait for a reaction. Just do it, and notice you survived. You are still here, still whole, still you, without anyone's validation. That experience, repeated, becomes a new neurological pathway, one that says, "I don't need that to be okay." And every time you prove it to yourself, the addiction loses a little more of its grip. Know the difference between feedback and poison. Not all opinions are equal, and the Stoic approach to other people's judgments is not blind indifference, it is discernment. Marcus Aurelius did not ignore all criticism. He had teachers, he had mentors, he actively sought people who would tell him the truth about himself. He wrote, "Begin the morning by saying to yourself, I shall meet with the busybody, the ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, envious, unsocial. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil." He knew who was coming. He categorized them clearly. And in doing so, he never confused the voice of genuine wisdom with the voice of ego, envy, or malice. Here is the distinction the Stoics made. Feedback comes from someone who has earned the right to speak into your life. Someone who knows you, who has invested in your growth, who delivers truth with the intention of helping you become better. That voice, welcome it, sit with it, mine it for gold. Poison comes from someone who doesn't know you, or who does know you and wants to diminish you. Someone speaking from envy, from insecurity, from their own unhealed wounds. That voice, acknowledge it briefly, extract any accidental truth it might contain, and release the rest. The filter is simple. Ask yourself, does this person know me well enough for their opinion to be accurate? Do they want what is best for me? Is this feedback or is this projection? If the answers are no, their opinion is not data about you. It is data about them. File it accordingly and move on. Live so aligned with your values that judgment becomes irrelevant. Here is the deepest secret of the person who is truly unaffected by other people's opinions. They are not unaffected because they are strong. They are unaffected because they are aligned. There is a profound difference. Strength without alignment is just suppression with better posture. Alignment is different. Alignment means that your daily actions match your deepest values, that what you do in private matches what you claim in public, that who you are when no one is watching is who you are when everyone is watching. When you live like this, when you have that internal coherence, someone's opinion of you simply has nowhere to land, because you already know exactly who you are. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Decide who you are, not based on trends, not based on what earns applause, based on what you believe is genuinely good, genuinely true, genuinely you. And then live that every day, consistently, whether anyone sees it or not. What happens over time is extraordinary. You develop what the Stoics called moral confidence, an unshakable knowing of your own character, not arrogance. Arrogance needs others to agree. This is different. This is the quiet certainty of someone who has kept their own promises to themselves so many times that they no longer need anyone else to confirm their worth. That confidence is a fortress, and opinions, no matter how sharp, bounce off its walls like pebbles off stone. Remember that most people are too busy worrying about themselves. Here is a truth that will immediately dissolve half your anxiety about what people think of you. They are not thinking about you. Not really. Not the way you imagine. not with the sustained attention and emotional investment that your anxiety insists they are. They looked, they formed a quick impression, they moved on because they have their own fears to manage, their own insecurities to maintain, their own inner courtroom where they are the defendant. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. The math of human attention is sobering. In the 5 minutes after someone judges you, they have already thought about what they're having for lunch, whether their partner is upset with them, what they said in that meeting last Tuesday, what they should have said instead of what they actually said, their mortgage, their health, their dreams, their regrets. You, somewhere in there, were a 3-second blip, and you have been constructing elaborate narratives around that 3-second blip for days. This is not self-criticism. This is liberation, because it means the judgment you have been building a prison around barely exists. It was a glance, a passing thought, a reflex, not a verdict, not a sentence, not a definition of who you are, just noise from a mind that was mostly somewhere else. When you truly absorb this, you will feel something remarkable, a lightness, as if a weight you didn't even know you were carrying, quietly and permanently, fell away. Use solitude to rebuild yourself from the inside out. The approval addict fears silence, because in silence, there is no feedback loop, no likes, no validation, no reassurance that you are enough, just you, and the truth of who you actually are when the performance stops. Most people run from that. They fill the silence with noise, with screens, with constant connection, anything to avoid sitting alone with themselves. But the Stoics ran toward it. Seneca wrote, "Retire into yourself as much as possible. Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those who you yourself can improve. The process is mutual, for men learn while they teach." Solitude is not loneliness. Solitude is the laboratory where you discover what you are actually made of. It is where you meet yourself, not the performed version, the real one. And what you discover there is always more than what the world told you you were, because the world's opinion of you was always partial, always filtered through their limitations, their projections, their needs. But in solitude, stripped of performance, stripped of audience, you encounter something that no opinion can diminish: your actual self, your thoughts, your instincts, your values, your capacity for depth. Marcus Aurelius spent hours in solitude every day, not hiding from the world, preparing for it, building the inner reserves that allowed him to move through a court full of critics without being destabilized by a single one. Begin spending time alone, deliberately, without your phone, without noise, without input. Sit with yourself. Ask yourself what you actually think, not what you're supposed to think. Ask yourself what you actually want, not what has been approved of. And slowly, meeting after meeting with your real self, you will stop needing the world's opinion to tell you who you are, because you will already know. Let go of the version of you that was built for other people. Somewhere along the way, you started building a self that wasn't really yours. Maybe it happened early. A parent who needed you to be a certain way to give you love. A school that rewarded one type of person and punished another. A group of friends whose acceptance required that you shrink or perform or pretend. And over years, that constructed self became so familiar that you forgot it was constructed. You started thinking the performance was the person. The mask was the face. The approval seeking was just who you were. Carl Jung called this the persona, the social mask we wear so long we forget it's a mask. And he said something that should stop you completely. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are, not who your parents needed, not who your culture approved of, not who your followers expected, who you truly are. The letting go of the constructed self is not dramatic. It doesn't happen in one moment. It happens in 100 small moments of choosing authenticity over approval, saying what you actually think instead of what will be received well, pursuing what actually matters to you instead of what looks impressive, stopping the performance just once and seeing that you survive it, that the world doesn't end, that the people worth keeping stay, and the ones who only wanted the performance quietly leave, and that departure, which once would have devastated you, begins to feel like cleaning, like clearing space for something real, something that was always there, underneath the performance, waiting. Make your inner voice louder than every voice around you. There is a voice inside you. You know the one. It has been speaking quietly your entire life, telling you what feels right, what feels wrong, what matters, what doesn't, who you actually are beneath all the layers. But there have been so many louder voices: parents, teachers, partners, employers, strangers on the internet. And over time, the quiet inner voice got harder to hear, drowned out by the noise. Marcus Aurelius called this voice the daimon, the inner guide, the deepest, truest part of a person that knows what is right independent of all external approval. He wrote, "Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always look. The source, it is still there, under all the noise, under all the conditioning, under all the years of building yourself for someone else's approval. The practice of making your inner voice louder begins with one discipline: checking in with yourself before checking what others think. Before you post, ask yourself what you actually believe about what you're about to share. Before you make a decision, ask yourself what you actually want, not what will be approved of. Before you respond to criticism, ask yourself what you actually know to be true about yourself. Your inner voice is not infallible, but it is yours. And the more you consult it, the more you trust it, the more you build your life in alignment with it, the less room there is for anyone else's voice to move in. Because the house is full of you. And there is simply no space for the opinion of someone who doesn't even live there. Realize that a life lived for approval is a life half-lived. We arrive at the final truth, the one that sits underneath all 11 things we've explored today, the one that, when you truly see it, makes the other 11 not just useful but urgent. A life spent chasing approval is not your life. It is the life that other people's opinions built for you. Every choice made to be accepted is a choice stolen from who you actually are. Every word censored for someone else's comfort is a truth the world never got to hear. Every dream abandoned because it might invite judgment is a version of you that never got to exist. And the tragedy, the real tragedy, is not that people judged you, it is that you agreed with them, that you took their incomplete, projected, often accidental opinion of you, and you used it to build the walls of a smaller life. Marcus Aurelius wrote these words to himself, alone, as a reminder he apparently needed to come back to again and again. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. He needed to remind himself, even him, even the emperor, because the pull of approval is that strong, that ancient, that deeply human. But you are not here to be deeply human in the smallest sense. You are here to be deeply human in the fullest sense, which means feeling the pull of approval and choosing your truth anyway, hearing the judgment and taking the next step anyway, being misunderstood and continuing to be yourself anyway. That is not arrogance. That is not coldness. That is the most radical act of courage available to a human being. The courage to be exactly who you are, without apology, without performance, without permission. And when you live that way, when you finally stop editing yourself for an audience that was never worth the performance, something extraordinary happens. The right people find you, not the performed version, you, and you find yourself, not the constructed self, the real one, the one that has been waiting patiently beneath every mask, beneath every performance, beneath every carefully managed impression, for you to finally come home to it. That is what these 12 things are building toward. Not immunity from judgment, freedom from needing it, And that freedom, once found, cannot be taken, not by any opinion, not by any voice, not by anyone. 12 things. Let's hold them one final time. Their opinion is about them, not you. Build an identity that needs no confirmation. Stop explaining yourself to closed minds. Practice the discipline of not reacting. Understand that approval is an addiction you are recovering from. Learn to tell feedback from poison. Live so aligned with your values that judgment has nowhere to land. Remember that no one is thinking about you as much as you fear. Use solitude to rebuild yourself from the inside out. Let go of the self that was built for someone else. Make your inner voice the loudest voice in the room. And realize, finally, completely, that a life lived for approval is a life that was never really yours. Marcus Aurelius didn't become one of the greatest human beings who ever lived by seeking the world's approval. He became great by seeking his own truth, by returning every morning to his values, by choosing every day who he was going to be, regardless of what the world decided to think about it. That is the invitation. Not to be like Marcus Aurelius, but to be completely, courageously, unapologetically like yourself. The world has enough performances. It is desperately short of people willing to be real. Be that person. Starting now, starting today. Thank you for being here. You are part of Stoic Journal, where every step inward leads you forward. Watch the next video on your screen. We will be right here, building the silence that holds real power.